All right, vocalist Jana Herzen and bassist Charnett Moffett are here to perform songs from their new duo recording, Round the World. It is an exclusive, intimate performance live from their home. I'm Brian Zimmerman. This is the Jazziz Last Call. All right, and as always, before we get started, just want to let you know about a new album from ECM Records that I think you will dig. This one is by the Israeli trumpeter Avishai Cohen and his ensemble Big Vicious. It's an album of the same name, Big Vicious, and it's everything you've come to expect from Avishai Cohen. Ambient sounds, electronic dance music, straight ahead jazz, raga music. It's really diverse material, and he's covering everything from Beethoven, Moonlight Sonata, to Massive Attack. It's a really great listen, and I just love that cover. If you want to learn more, check out ecmrecords.com. Wanted to also remind you that our summer 2020 issue is now on sale on newsstands and in mailboxes for the most part. This one is all about fusion, a nice cover story on Chick Corea in there. Good news, all of the content from this print issue is available on our website as web articles. You will need a digital subscription to read those articles, but fortunately, we're offering a special subscription rate to Jazz's Last Call listeners for just 99 cents per month for 3 months. You can enjoy unlimited digital access to every exclusive article, subscriber only article from this magazine and others. Plus, in the fall, come September, we'll enroll you to receive our fall 2020 issue, which is all about the art of the album, listening to albums, collecting albums, producing albums, album cover art. Is a really great issue. And like I say, you subscribe now, you can read all of the web content that's available in this print issue. Plus, come September, you'll have a beautiful 100-page print issue in your mailbox. Okay, once again, my guests today are a true power duo in jazz. Jana Herzen has spent the past 16 years helming the award-winning and taste-making Motéma label, which first recorded vocalist Gregory Porter and piano wonderkin Joey Alexander. She's also a fabulous singer-songwriter in her own right. And Charnett Moffett is one of the most versatile bassists in jazz, with more than 40 years experience playing with everybody from Ornette, Coleman to Wynton, Marsalis. They are about to release a new duo album called Round the World, due out July 3rd digitally and July 17th in the physical edition. They are here and they are ready to go one last round. So let's go ahead and invite Jana and Charnett into the last call.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hey.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And one of the first things we do on the last call, Jana and Charnett, is we like to give a toast to someone, something, some place, some idea, just to honor somebody. I saw, there you go. Both have your beverage of choice there. So Jana, Charnett, who, what, where, when, why are we honoring with this toast?
Here's a toast to life.
That's right. Toast to life. L'chaim, as they say.
Amen.
That's the good stuff. The good stuff. Well, thank you again so much for being here. Very excited about this new album. I've been spinning it a lot. It's got a great vibe. It's kind of half in that singer-songwriter vein, half straight ahead jazz duo, which makes total sense given your sensibilities. These seem like tunes that you would be jamming with together, even if no one was recording. Is that the case?
Absolutely. No question.
So how did the album come together? Did it just come out of, ooh, I like this tune, or what kickstarted this album for you?
It's really an interesting story. When you sit down to start to present music to the world and talk about it, you start thinking, well, how did this come together? And truthfully, there's been a lot of kismet involved with Charnett and my partnership musically. And, we first met in New York City back in 2007 it was.
Yeah,
and he approached me about putting some music onto the Motéma label. I loved his sound and what he did. And so we signed him to the label. And then I needed a bass player for a project and asked him, and he so graciously agreed to participate. And we were doing a sectional rehearsal. That's when you get together with the bass player just to learn the lines, and then you get the band together later. And when I heard the two of us playing together, I went, there's something there. I'm an A&R person, and that's my job, is to sign things. And I have to be like a two personalities sometimes with myself, because I'm an artist and then I'm running the label. So I have two different mindsets. but I heard something that was unique, and it reminded me a little bit of Ella Fitzgerald and Joe Pass on some of those beautiful, beautiful records they did, like Take Love Lightly. And so we started working on the duo project, and we just would sit around and practice. He took me to music camp because, obviously amazing musician. I've learned so much working with Charnett, and he has so many wonderful stories about so many different experiences he's had musically. And we just kept bringing out songs. And I would say, hey, do you know this one? And he wouldn't know it. He'd bring out one. Hey, do you know this one? I wouldn't know it. And so we cross-pollinated quite a bit, and just picked out as we went through, just liked certain songs. And we went in one day, we said, okay, well, let's record. And we went in, we recorded 18 songs in one day.
Wow.
So it was pretty crazy. And then of that material, the first album, A Passion of a Lonely Heart, came out about 5 years ago, and that honored our 10th anniversary of the label. So I guess it's 6 years ago now. And it was a jazz label. I said, let's take the more jazzy ones and put them on this set, and then we'll put these other ones out later. And little did we know how the world would take us here, there, whatever, that it would take us another 6 years to put out the second record. But here it is, the second record, which features 6 cover tunes.
Absolutely. And beautiful stuff, kind of in this, I think, more or less unexplored territory in between jazz and that singer-songwriter vein. I mean, Joni Mitchell is obviously, a touchstone for this stuff. And, when it comes to that kind of the Venn diagram of singer-songwriter stuff and jazz, she is most prominently in the middle. And so I'm curious, Charnett, like you said, was throwing out some jazz tunes that were new to you. You were throwing out singer-songwriter stuff that was new to you. But were there any albums that the both of you, in your preparation for making your own, kind of revisited to say, oh, we love this vibe, the Joni Mitchell and Mingus stuff, the Sheila Jordan stuff with bassists? Or
not really?
Not at all.
No.
It was so organic, the way things evolved. And I keep telling people all the time, music only has 12 notes that creates all the many different styles of music. And when we can find the balance of how to create it and tell our story with those 12 notes, that is the beautiful blessing of sharing a creative concept with someone, and then having that new creative spark shared with all of you, the audience.
I love it. Yeah. No, and we could feel that. You can feel that organic chemistry. This is very much a conversation between the two of you. I do not.
Those people are obviously a major influence, the Dominguez and Jocko and Joni Mitchell, as well as many others.
I think, when we think about music that we both listened to growing up in our different worlds that we did grow up in, Miles Davis definitely was right there. I listened to so much Miles Davis when I was young, and obviously Charnett did as well. And I think that Miles's influence on the entire jazz world, it could be heard even in this music, which doesn't sound like Miles Davis at all. But at the same point, his his sensibility about leaving space.
Yep.
About melody, about simplicity, and about, tone, all these things. And I think another thing about this duo, which for me anyhow was huge, is that Charnett would always say, okay, we're going to music camp. And he said, come on, we're going to start. We would start every rehearsal just with a completely free improvisation. That was new to me, to be doing that. And as it evolved a language that's really our own as a result. It was just, okay, we'll dive in. We'll just do whatever. And, out of that came also the instrumental album that we have that's called Net Duo, right, which is available online. And that's all instrumental. My first time doing an all instrumental album.
Very nice. Yeah, no, I hear what you say about these kind of universal musical truths passed down, from Miles Davis through to the Joni Mitchells. They just resonate through time. So I don't want to take up too much time up front here. I would love to hear you guys play a tune. What are we going to hear to begin the set here?
The title track to the new album, Round the World. And playing this also because talks about love, spinning around the world. And I think that what the world needs now, to quote another famous song, is love. So let us do that.
Beautiful.
Don't rush when you're with this woman. There's enough. So slow down, 'cause there's time. We're gonna ride each moment to the end of the line, 'cause there's a love spinning round this world, and you found one kind of girl, not afraid of what it takes. You know I'm gonna stay awake with you. Love spinning round this earth, and I wanna show you just what it's worth. Can you see it in my eyes? There's a candle in the sky for you. So relax, honey, be free. Throw your troubles in the salty sea. Give in, darling. Honey, don't fight. You got to trust the pull of the cool moonlight, 'cause there's love spinning round this world. Can you see it in my heart? There's a candle in the dark for you. Love spinning round this earth, and I want to show you just what it's worth. Can you see in my heart? There's a candle in the dark, and it's burning for you. Love spinning round this world. You got love spinning round this globe. Love spinning round. You got love spinning round this world.
Yeah. Yeah. A beautiful tune. And you're right, Jana, an important message, especially for right now, considering everything else that is spinning around this world. And at times we feel like we're spinning out of control. Love is still spinning around the world too. So a message for our times. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, I'd love to talk a little bit about both of your backgrounds because Jana, you kind of came up, cut your teeth in the Northern California coffee shop singer-songwriter scene, right? Isn't that the case?
Yeah, the Northern California and also England. I lived in England for a year, 16.
Wow.
And then I was chasing around folk clubs and
okay. Yeah, what time period was that?
Okay, you're gonna ask my age.
A general time period.
I'm all about authenticity. That was 1975 to 76.
That's a great time to be in England, you know, checking out the folk scene.
For the crown.
So that makes you, I'm doing my math, 29 years old, just for everybody watching. John is 29.
That's
yeah.
right.
Very cool.
So
And
go ahead.
yeah, and that was kind of, were your parents musical? Were they?
Actually, my mother is she was my first bandmate. She used
Okay.
to play the banjo, and we would go in when I was in kindergarten. We would go into school, and she would play the banjo, and I would sing harmonies, and she'd sing. I had an automatic ear for harmony. She used to trot me around, go, look, check out what she can do.
Nice.
So,
Very cool. Hey, that's a hell of a talent. Wish I had it.
yeah, and actually, I often wonder how it is because I grew up in Stanford University. And I was not really deeply into jazz. So it's kind of interesting that I wound up with a jazz record label in Harlem. But one of the things about my mother's quite an interesting lady. She's a scientist, and both my parents were scientists. My dad's gone, unfortunately. But she keeps working, and she was raised, her uncle was a cantor, and he was walked in the first civil rights movements.
Wow.
Back in the day, he was one of the clergymen that walked in those movements, and he was very close with Paul Robeson.
Okay. Wow.
So, sort of with this, the complete adulation of Paul Robeson, and she just loves every kind of music. So I was raised hearing literally everything in the house.
Oh, very nice. We will get back to the founding of that label soon, I promise. Charnett, I mean, you are, I mentioned earlier, one of the most versatile bass players in jazz. Having played with, Wynton Marsalis on the one hand, Black Codes from the Undergrounds, that was Young Lions, Straight Ahead, Dawn of Neobop, all the way to the Ornette Coleman Sound Museum stuff, which, listeners might think, wow, those are two wildly different bands. One's very straight ahead, one's very avant-garde. But I'm curious, since you've played in both those groups, what similarities people listening might miss, They seem very different to us, but you having been in both, how are they similar?
Honestly,
Hey, it's the last call. It happens.
Last call.
That's a cheers. Right. That's all right.
Jazziz.
Overdone the water today. Cheers.
It's about the love.
Yeah.
It's about when you're around artists, as Jana, who love what they're doing, and regardless of the style of the music, they're putting their heart and soul into it.
Beautiful.
And
Man.
all those artists you mentioned, and many other artists that I work with, they put their heart and soul into it. They work very hard. They're extremely brilliant human beings, constantly learning from each and every one of them. Rhythm section players, we have an advantage. We get to rub shoulders with many different territories, and that helps you develop your own story and your own truth, how you want to express yourself, and be creative with it in a jazz way.
So that's exactly right. And how about you? Who was the musician? What was the album as you were young, kind of coming up, that sparked this love in jazz for you?
Oh, it was my dad, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. He loved everything. My dad was a wonderful human being who played drums and percussion, vibraphonist Charles Moffett. And this is my first music teacher. And one of the first things he taught me was that if you could only play 3 notes, find how many different ways you can play those 3 notes. So there was always a creative process that I was born into the music with, not about the information that you didn't know, but how to utilize the information that you actually have. Of course, we're always aspiring to get more information about all subject matters, but it's about the balance of life that feels right to you in order to express yourself where you may be in a particular time and space in your life.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, it's not about how many words you know. It's how you can string them together, how you can connect to people. So beautiful. Charnett, playing duo bass is a fine art. Let's put it that way. What is your role? How do you see your role in a duo like this supporting a vocalist?
Well, I'm having the time of my life. I'm with the love of my life.
Yes, you are.
Recently
tied
the knot.
Congratulations, the two of you. Mazel tov.
It's just before COVID hit, so we've wound up with a very extended
Excellent. Oh, good. Yeah, you wouldn't have to have one of those Zoom weddings. Yeah, you got to have the real deal. That's so exciting. Yeah.
Use the instrument really as a voice, which is what we're all aspiring to do. It's really beautiful because an instrument is just a tool for you to express yourself. We know that they all have different functions, but it's up to us to to project what we want to use the sound for. So a lot of times with the instruments with Jana, I'm playing the bass, the harmony, the counter, but I think of myself as a second vocalist almost, but with a bass register.
That's actually
and my
so
approach
true.
with the music, and different concepts, different tunes, different way of thinking with your mindset, as it is with any musical situation where you go into. But we're having a ball, and it's early here in the West Coast, but we're glad to be here. And we're awake now, and we thank everybody for allowing us to be part of this beautiful, wonderful tradition and creative series that Jazziz is continuing to keep the love going on the planet.
Well, thank you again. We are so happy you are here, and yeah, we are pre-taping, so I'm doing some day drinking, but you know, hey.
Okay.
No shame there.
Right. I want to say that he just said about another voice, and that's actually what I heard when we were just practicing for the band rehearsals, and it was just the two of us. But what I found is that he always, as a bass, I've played with a lot of bass players, and there's a lot of great ones out there, but there's something about Charnett that he's always singing through the instrument, and that you can hear that on all of his recordings. And more so, the more I've heard as you've been developing your sound, it's like I find myself singing his melodies from his instrumental albums. They just get stuck in my head. So he has a real gift for melody, and that comes out when he's soloing. And so I feel like when he takes that football to run down the field with a solo, it's like he's always taking me on some journey that feeds me on the song emotionally and harmonically. And then by the time I'm coming back in, I'm in a new place. And that's really the treat of working with somebody that you really connect with and who has their own musical composer's ear, because you're improvising is composing on the spot, right? So that's what's happening. So these songs are never sung the same or done the same when we do them. They're always a different adventure for us every time.
Totally. And you can hear that vocal quality, and you think of some of the legends, the Ben Websters, the Lester Youngs. It was like they were singers. That's just the way to play. Everything was just this gorgeous melodic phrase. And yeah, that comes through when the two of you play. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jana, we mentioned a lot of covers on this album. The Joni Mitchell tune, there's a Beatles tune, a Men at Work tune, Colin Hay. I love Colin Hay. Even a Kermit the Frog cover. You do Rainbow Connection.
I love Kermit.
Gotta love Kermit. Covers are always so, this is the way I think of them, at least. You're constantly balancing between making the song your own and kind of honoring the original. And that is a tightrope to walk, and one of the joys of listening to this album is kind of hearing how you put subtle twists on each song, solve the puzzle to make it your own, while at the same time, honoring the original. Was there a particular song, any one of those covers, that posed an especially fun kind of like challenge or puzzle to put your own unique spin on?
I don't want to sound egotistical here, but I actually don't know how to play music without putting my own spin on it. When I was a kid and playing these songs, people would say, "That's not how it goes." They would say to me. And I thought it was how it goes, because I would just hear it that way and I would sing it that way. And then actually, there was a music critic that heard me when I was very young, and he pulled my mother aside and he said, "She's got her own thing. She could probably make it in this industry, but you should think about whether you really want to push her into it, because it's really it eats young people up and it spits them out. And it's really true." And I have to say that back in those days, Jimi Hendrix died of an overdose. Janis Joplin died of an overdose. I mean, it looked like a scary world out there to really pursue this. And it was. I mean, a lot of people, Jazziz, a lot of people really got eaten up by the business. And honestly, one of my things about running Motéma all these years, I always say, I'm in the business, but I'm not of it, or I'm of the business, but not in it. However you say that, in the sense that I really am here to provide a platform for music and musicians to be able to say what they say. And it's not really, the label is not here to say, well, do this and you're going to become a hit, or it's not about that. It's really about the expression of the artists, and, the artists somehow find their way to the label. And it's wildly different, of course, what's on the label. It stretches all the way from Tomoko Sugawara doing ancient kugo music on the harp to Terry Lynn Carrington, really expressing with her band Social Science their feelings about the world today. But all of it is people with vision.
Totally. Yeah. And we will get to Motéma because I have so many questions. I'd love to hear you play a song first. Interesting what you say, though, about you cannot help but put your original spin on it. It reminds me of a great quote about a master sculptor and an apprentice. And the apprentice was learning to sculpt by copying the master. And he was so worried, it's going to look the same as yours. I'm not finding my original voice. And the master sculptor said to him, but your fingerprints are all over it. No two sculptures could ever be the exact same because your fingerprints are all over it. So very cool to hear. All right. I understand you have another song prepared for us.
I do. And well, actually I did, but now you've inspired me to devise a new choice.
All right.
Which of these covers, maybe it was complicated. Really, I just was playing around with it one day, but I really love reggae a lot. And actually my first band experiences were playing in a Trinidadian man's reggae band in Santa Cruz. So that's a long story, but it was playing reggae for me is there's such uplift to it. And I don't know why it hits my heartstrings like it does, but it really does. And so we're gonna do this version of Kermit the Frog's famous song. People can guess what that is.
All right.
A little bit of reggae twist. And I also dedicate this song to us all finding a way to get together and get along in this world and respect each other. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions and only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So it's been said, and some say they believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that any wish could be heard and be answered when wished on the evening star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it, and look where it took us this far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? What do they hope we may see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? What do we hope we may see? one day we'll find that rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us chasing a star. We think that it's probably magic.
Yeah, very cool. Beautiful. We do a little thing called call and response at the end of each interview. It's just quick hit questions. And normally I'm asking, each musician about themselves. I'm going to mix it up here a little for the newlyweds. I'm going to ask Jana questions about Charnett. I'm going to ask Charnett questions about Jana. Are we ready for call and response? We're going to try it out.
Okay. Our favorite show.
That's right. Okay, Jana, what is an album that Charnett could have on repeat all day? 24 hours.
I hate to tell you. So far, it's been my album, Nothing But Love. He keeps it.
That's good husband. Yeah. That's right.
It came out in January. That's not for promotional reasons. I say that he just really, it's been on constant rotation here. And I'm going, why don't we play some other stuff?
Hey, if it's good, it's good. Very cool. Okay. Charnett, whose lyrics, by another lyricist just makes Jana's heart melt?
Probably Gregory Porter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you agree? Yeah, I love Gregory's lyrics as a songwriter. I mean, he has the voice, of course, but his lyrics are just profound. Okay. Jana, okay. What subject could Charnett write a book on, not related to jazz? Something he's really into.
Oh, I think spirituality.
Okay.
I think it's that spirit and vibration, the vibrational reality of the world, and how everything is vibrations, and how, he could feel, he walks into a room and he can, we walk into a club and go, something bad happened here last night. I could feel it. Okay. I can't feel, I'm not that sensitive as he is, but he feels these things. And so I'm sure he could write quite a book on that.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Okay. Well, you mentioned the harmony earlier. Charnett, who do you envision Jana would love to sing harmony with? Living, dead, any artist in the world?
Probably Leonard Cohen.
Oh, that would be something. I love me some Leonard. Do you agree, Jana?
It's so interesting that he says that. I never think about singing harmony with Leonard Cohen, because it's like his voice is so individual, but he does have a lot of really nice background vocals that happen. And truthfully, I love to sing background vocals. I don't do it that much, but it's such a wonderful art form to support that way a lead vocalist. And really the background vocalists in this world, they're the best singers. Us lead singers are nothing compared to them usually, because it's a great skill musically to be able to. They
are very skilled bunch for sure. Yeah. But you're being humble, Jana. You have a great voice. And this has been an absolute pleasure listening to you. We should mention again, the album Around the World out July 3rd digital, and then July 17th physical, right?
Right. And right now they can get Nothing But Love, which came out in January. And also Net Duo, which we did. It's a duo, an instrumental duo. And then, of course, Passion of a Lonely Heart, which was our first one. So if you feel like grabbing something right away, there you go. It's all out there, plus Charnett's music, of course.
Beautiful. That's right. And Motéma.com, what's the website people can check you out at?
Yeah, Motéma.com. And if you can come to our Facebook and our Instagram and sign up, that's a lot of our communications happen through there. But we do send out, newsletters from Motéma.com. So if you join the newsletter, you'll hear about all new releases, all upcoming concerts when these things happen again, or online live streams as they go. And I just want to say, I read this morning that the Village Vanguard is opening up for live streaming. So how's that for a brain twist? That's like the oldest club with the longest history, and it's going to be live streaming some shows now. So
entering a new phase, you know, this could be the new normal. But yeah, that is exciting. Jana, Charnett, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, people watching, go check out the new album. There's some singles streaming right now.
And everybody, make sure you get your subscriptions to Jazziz magazine, because you guys are doing a great job, and I really appreciate so much you having us on here.
Yes, thanks.
You are very welcome. Cheers to you both. I'll catch you both backstage. I'm going to sign off with people watching at home. So long. That's right. Bye, Jana. Bye, Charnett. Thank you again so much to my guest today. That was Jana Herzen and Charnett Moffett. Their new album, Around the World, is coming out July 3rd, digital July 17th, physical. Go stream some of it right now. The singles are out right now. Go check out their other albums. They're a really powerful duo. And of course, they're doing some amazing things at Motéma Music. I want to thank Blue Sound, an award-winning high-res wireless sound system, for sponsoring today's episode. Once again, I am Brian Zimmerman. I'm going to shut down the bar here. This has been the Jazziz Last Call. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night.